Meron kasi kayong in-specify na 4 na naratibo
Yes.
ng disinformation. Run us through them.
Okay, so the first was about the anti-establishments, no? And this is more for about the administrations, no? The second one was more for the anti-China, the more extreme speeches, no? So the third naman was sige, Ross.
What we tried to do with the narratives is to point out na it's important to see the bigger picture.
Okay.
What are the grander narratives at play during these elections? Kasi ang ginagawa usually mga fact checkers is to call out specific items na para, okay, this is erroneous, this is not erroneous. But what we're trying to say here through the 4 narratives is that look at the bigger picture. Ano ba ang gusto nilang gawin? And so we found out na may mga specific narratives nga. So one is the anti-establishment. This goes back to the blaming of the Aquino administrations in the past and the failure, for example, of the Rojases and the Aquinos to be able to solve the country's problems when it comes to traffic, when it comes to governance. Second, for example, we have the anti-China extreme speech. So it's typical for Filipinos to call out na parang, oh, adaming mga Chinese dito, di ba? But like what we saw when it comes to these narratives is it's being pushed to the edge to the point na parang nagiging xenophobic na ata tayo eh. Nagiging racist na ata tayo towards the Chinese. We're very hostile when it comes to them.
Are you Chinese in any way?
Yeah, I have Chinese blood. So I feel that. But the other 2 narratives, I think one is
The mistrust
close
for
to your heart.
media.
Mistrust against mainstream
yes,
media.
yes.
Yeah, so marami na
How
sa
do we
mga
feel that?
tweakings of the post, no? Okay, very biased yung ganitong news group, yung media groups na ito.
The fake media, the fake journalists.
So may makita lang na
Bias.
sort of maling news na release, magpo-post agad sila. na, Okay, this is
how do
this is
we
wrong.
how do we measure if people are actually subscribing to those messages?
Yung pagka-viral nila. How do we
Yeah.
know that?
Is that the measure
Yeah.
that it was shared, or can we tell if people are convinced whether it's anti-media,
Right.
anti-administration, anti-China?
Something can be viral, like Bea Alonso and Gerald Anderson, but Robbie didn't believe. No, I guess the question now is, how do you know that people are actually persuaded?
Right. So at first value, we look at the number of shares and reactions, okay? And usually the comment section. So kahit sabihing medyo toxic siya, quote ng quote, na kasi marami ng bashers and all that. So we try to read through the comments, no, okay? To look at to have a sense, no, na ano ba yung reaction ng mga tao na is it a positive, is it a negative, and many of these quote-unquote attacks would go, ay, oo, tama, mali yan.
Do
no,
the tactics,
bias
I mean,
sila.
going back to new tactics, do the tactics end at the posting and the using of the influencers, or does it go down to what happens at the comment section? Is that also something that's being manipulated?
Right.
So sa study naman, I think we've looked at more at the production of the disinformation, because it's so difficult to really filter through the comments.
Yes.
Right.
You know, as a research assistant for the project, na-absorb ko talaga yung hostility and the negativity of social media on both ends. So I guess that's one of the limitations of the project. But we also tried to look at the comments talaga, na parang how passionate are people when it comes to talking about anti-China? How passionate are they when it comes to talking about the Marcoses?
Yeah, the historical revisionism.
So that's
for
one gauge to be able to tell na parang people are really convinced with these values. Na parang if an influencer posts this and then there's a lot of comments, there's a lot of shares, that's one way of quantifying na parang it does resonate with people.
We need to take